Well, Dr. Barber, thank you for joining us this morning. I just wanted to talk to you about the El Dorado Hills Community Vision Coalition and the role that you've played since the beginning with the coalition as chairperson.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you. Ray, and I feel very privileged to have been able to be associated with the Vision Coalition. You and DJ and everyone that you've brought together have done such a fabulous job. So you've made it very easy and certainly very comfortable and exciting to be part of the effort. The Vision Coalition has I think, done a phenomenal job in El Dorado Hills and really is an example of what can happen when you bring together the resources for community-based organizations and public agencies and have a small group of very committed, dedicated individuals who are knowledgeable and can make things happen in together, making things happen we couldn't do individually. So as you say, I've had the opportunity to be the chairperson of the Executive Advisory Committee. Is that the right title?
That's
okay. Okay, and it really has been my honor to be associated with you.
Well, we deal with youth, and we have to depend on our allies in the schools to really make things happen, to really communicate with kids and get in close to where they are. There's been so much happening in our schools lately, and we're so concerned about our kids getting off to a good start. What are some of the accomplishments that you feel like we've really made within the school system in El Dorado Hills?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of things that I would point to. As you mentioned, in schools, we're constantly fighting issues of not having enough resources. And obviously in these times, that's become even more poignant and a much more significant issue. And the Vision Coalition has been able, through grants and leveraging resources, has been able to assist us in doing things that we want to do but didn't perhaps have the resources to make happen. So you can point to so many examples of what the Vision Coalition has brought forth in terms of supporting specific programs, thinking of Friday Night Live, thinking of the Link Crew, thinking of counseling programs that they have made available in our schools. Ray, and there's just been countless examples. And you know, as you know, of course, I would be interested in youth in terms of making sure that those resources are there. But in terms of the actual outcomes, a couple of programs that I would highlight also I think are very telling, and we look at how our kids score on the Healthy Kids survey that's taken on a regular basis, and so we're interested in drug use, alcohol use, and when we think about drugs, I think we usually think about illegal substances, but also just use of prescription drugs that are in the homes that families may have had. And the Vision Coalition has brought such a spotlight on that issue. And I think it's made a tremendous difference in what's available. So we've seen changes in again, our survey results from what kids have said on drug use, alcohol kinds of issues, and community forums that have been run and really sponsored by the Vision Coalition, bringing together expertise that we wouldn't have naturally have had at our fingertips for parents to really take a look at those kinds of issues. So again, lots of other examples that you and I could probably talk about for hours as to what you have made happen.
Right. Well, in going forward, we've been mentoring others in our community, including a group up in South Lake Tahoe, and we're excited about helping them to apply for some of the same funding we've been using for the last 8 years. And so we're hoping to share some of our learned experiences, our best practices with them. What would you say, looking back, have been some of our best practices? What advice could you give the new coalition?
You know, I think one of the things that we would point to is really building that collaboration and building that, having all the stakeholders at the table. Whether, I mean, obviously schools, you know, that's where kids are, so it makes sense in terms of having schools at the table, and making sure that we understand each other's parameters, things in terms of how we have to do business. Schools have so many rules and regulations that they're having to adhere to.
Right.
So it's nice to have, I think, someone from administration at the table that can help navigate that course of action. Folks that may think, well, I'd like to run an assembly at a school next week, and thinking about that sounds reasonable. It doesn't sound reasonable from a school's perspective because our schedules are so set, and trying to make a change at the last minute is much more of a challenge. So just making sure that we've done the forward planning, thinking about having law enforcement at the table, public health. I mean, just thinking in terms of who sits around the table. So I think I would say to any entity, one of the best examples of what I think the Vision Coalition has done is engaging a full set of the stakeholders that should be involved, including parents, and probably most importantly, engaging youth themselves.
Exactly.
As probably one of the things I've been most impressed with is having youth at the table, being part of that conversation. So it isn't only adults sharing their expertise and thoughts, and having the young people there to give specific examples and respond, and helping us in crafting what we think might be good solutions or ways that we can resolve some of the challenges has been phenomenal. So that would be my advice.
That's great. Well, we would have to agree with you that getting the feedback from youth is really critical to making good decisions that are youth friendly. And
can I just interject? The other thing I've been really impressed with, when we talk about having youth engagement, it's not just on the peripheral. It's not just something we can say, oh, we've had youth there, and they've just sat through meetings and not really contributed. You have crafted it in a way that youth have provided some of the leadership. They have asked the questions, or they have been the ones that have facilitated different conversations that have occurred. So it's been meaningful engagement. And I don't know that all entities always know how to make that happen. So again, I applaud you and DJ and the Vision Coalition for it has been a youth engagement that has made a difference and has been deep in terms of the role that they have played.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you very much. That's just wonderful information to get back from you. And we feel that we have great potential going forward. We're hoping to continue this coalition onward and upward, and surround ourselves with coalitions just like ours throughout our county.
We would love that also, and we're very interested in continuing to be a partner with you in whatever role we can play. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, great.
Very good.